Hey DMs, what was your most creative campaign idea? Let us know in the comments below. I promise no one's gonna steal it. By far the stupidest or silliest campaign idea I've ever had is 20 Lost Lambs. A party of first-level adventurers is called upon by a desperate shepherd to help him recover his precious flock of 20 sweet little lambs who have wandered off. The shtick is that the party levels up with the recovery of each lamb, but likewise the difficulty involved in finding and returning the next lamb increases to be a level-appropriate challenge. So, the first lamb is basically a cakewalk. Oh no, he got trapped in a ravine, and there's maybe a wolf trying to get him. But then it just spirals into absurdity until recovering a lamb requires things like planar travel, infernal bargains, or divine intervention. New world type of setting, like Columbus. The world they came from was mundane and non-magic. First few sessions they played as commoners. They crash-landed on a new continent, soldiers, civilians, and all. Then they discovered magic exists there. I ran a nobles campaign in 3.5. The basic gimmick is that the party would be playing powerful nobles in a kingdom rather than just random adventurers. They started as relatively high-level characters around level 18 to 12. It's been ages, so I don't remember exactly where we started. And when spending starting gold, they could get one item for half the usual cost as an heirloom item. Their adventures were mostly about random problems big enough to raise their attention, or promising enough to help them at scale. In addition to their normal character sheets, I made up a system alongside the game to manage their territory. They had a few points to spend between various attributes and could take a certain number of actions. The system itself was a mess, and I kept updating it between sessions to allow new things that the players wanted to try. The faction system was intended to serve a few roles, one of which was getting to pass on boring-sounding but important quests by just sending subordinates or hiring adventurers to do it. There were a handful of plots going on in that game. One of the big plots that I never got to finish involved a kingslayer doppelganger. The players learned that a specially prepared doppelganger had been smuggled into the material plane from a secret laboratory in the Nine Hells. They didn't learn everything, but the doppelganger had a special ability where it could essentially eat someone and then wear them as a soul mask. While masked, true sight and various forms of detection and divination would see the consumed form as their real form, and the doppelganger would have full knowledge of their memories and even their muscle memory, making them essentially a perfect copy. But they could only maintain one soul mask at a time, so they would literally have to throw up a dead body before they could consume a new target. The goal was to slowly replace people closer and closer to the king, and eventually the king himself. I had a double twist planned where the king would turn out to be a gold dragon, so if the party failed to catch the doppelganger, suddenly the king shows up with a dead assassin's body and a shady story about how they were defeated, and the party would get a little suspicious. But that last tidbit was in my "see how things go before you commit to that" bin. Life eventually, as it does, got in the way, and the game fell apart before all of that could play out. But the players had a good time digging up old artifacts that could help their province, negotiating with nearby warlords, turning their citizens into weresharks for increased productivity, that sort of thing. Must clear a house of monsters with minimal property damage, so a struggling junior real estate agent who was purposely given this dud can flip it for a profit and no longer be subject to all the chads at her agency who don't respect her. Issues included methods in the chimney, the pool being a gelatinous cube, a shy, shambling mound that hid itself near invisibly in the garden but left thorns everywhere. Things were chaos, but going well, right up until they had to figure out how to remove a giant golem from the basement without damaging the house. Then, how to sell the house with a giant hole and moved over 2 blocks from its original location. was a random one-shot I had to think of quickly, and I've done different versions of this since. A simplistic one-shot. The Witch, who's a total cat lady with 45 cats, awakens 4 to 6 of them to do her bidding. The whole party consists of Tabaxi barbarians. The witch and her cats are based on real prototypes. Another one is my personal take on implementing gestalt mechanics. Each character has 2 classes. One is for when they are awake, and the other is for when they dream. Slowly, they are able to merge the abilities using day class abilities in a dream and night class abilities during the day, eventually merging fully. The conflict is about dreams fighting their way into reality. Concept, not creative. My group just said it was Lethal Company. Premise: go into a dangerous area to get a resource. Place: a dead island filled with ore that is very valuable, and the monsters are also literally made out of it, but they take on vastly different shapes and hunt in different ways. Other: a god shows up and gives them a mission to take pictures to reveal how the world will end, in a giant metal temple in the center of the island. My game started in the aftermath of a false hydra destroying the capital of a major kingdom on the continent. I've had to change a few things about the false hydra to make it fair for my players, but the hydra's ability to sing is currently being held at bay by a powerful sorcerer hiding within the ruins of the city. The party is now part of a resistance. Various groups who were once prominent in the city trying to take the capital back. While a few of these groups have differing viewpoints and goals, they maintain an uneasy peace as the resistance attempts to kill the monster and its creator before they find the sorcerer preventing it from singing. On the heavily inebriated final night of Heaven's annual holiday, the 2 most powerful chosen of the stars, Shayop and Aisha, made a bet. Shayop believed the shards of solar essence were cursed, horrible things, and that people empowered by them would become horrible monsters, causing devastation throughout the world. Aisha believed that they had the potential to be heroes, if only they had guidance and were taught how. It was the old, ancient argument that the 2 had been fighting about for the past 2,000 years. But this night, they were both drunk enough and furious enough that they made a bet. The winner would accept the outcome. The loser would get on board with the winner's plan for how best to protect the world. And that would be that. Aisha agreed to supervise the project. Shayop secretly thinks he's already won because not only won't he have to do the work himself, but when it all blows up in Aisha's face, she'll see firsthand how terrible people given stupendous amounts of power can be. Aisha secretly thinks she already won because Shayop just actually agreed to loose a bunch of solar shards into the world, and she gets a whole class of newborn solars to teach and guide. In another realm, a bunch of friends sit down at a table together knowing nothing about all of this, and they're about to be dropped into this world. This is my one-shot. Pick up and play anytime, starter and introduction to Exalted 2.5 edition. A few good one-shots and short campaigns I've done are: the party hires a ship to get them from A to B as there is a plague going around in A. They discover there is a young girl and her mother who had snuck onto the ship and are infected. If they let them stay, the plague will spread, starting with the crew. If they tell the crew, the girl and her mom will be killed. A guard captain hires the party to help him escort goods through the woods, which are full of goblins. The local lord is putting up flyers for his missing 18-year-old daughter. The caravan they are escorting is a big chest, magically sealed, and they are told not to touch it under any circumstances. As they go, they hear knocking coming from the chest. A border dispute between the wood elves and humans. Dead from each side have been found in the contested territory, but upon inspection, the wounds that killed them seem to have been from animals. The Human Druid Guild is responsible and has been killing other humans at the border to make it look like it was the elves. The party is hired to escort an 80-year-old man on a long journey. Throughout the journey, they pick up that he is not well mentally, and notice little things like him writing in a journal every night and putting it into a bag of holding. He keeps humming the same song before he sleeps, an old lullaby. They piece it together that he is writing to his son, who died like 55 years ago, and that this journey is taking him to be sacrificed to the cult of Exalted, our god of death and time, because he does not want to live anymore. The quest becomes trying to convince him to keep living, and that life is good, despite bandits attacking them on the road and all of that jazz. This one may be a lot mentally for a party, but I've been playing with the same guys for 12 years and know them well. We've all been best friends for about 15 years. This was me trying to cope with my son having a very traumatic birth. He's okay and healthy now, by the way. And it turned out to be a beautiful little campaign that they enjoyed a lot. My current running campaign is Journey to the Distant Dinosaur Time Past, which accidentally turned into a time apocalypse that got the party sent across the plains. First, they went through the bad ones, facing trials, but now they are heading towards the upper plains to gather support from the gods to help fix the time apocalypse. It's been going on for over 2 years. They started at level 1 and are now level 16. I will get them to level 20. The players keep hearing about the evil mad mage. Oh no. Propaganda from priests and gods to silence the mage. The mage turned to science to solve his problems, realizing he needs the help of a power equal to or greater than most gods. He turns to a god betrayed by the others. The mad mage seeks to save mortals from the puppet masters. However, there is more happening that almost no one knows about. I could keep going, but this is just the first half of the campaign. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and let us know in the comments below. DMs, share your secrets. What was the most creative campaign idea that you've had? I promise we won't steal it or tell anybody. We love you all. Please be safe, happy, and healthy, and we'll see you next time. Toodaloo.